Hello everyone. So in this video we're going to look at linear trend. So linear trend is the technique that we use to forecast for a time series which is non-stationary. So when I say non-stationary, so if you plot a time series, either there's a trend going upwards or there's a trend going downwards. So in this time series we have a upward trend. So for this type of time series, if you want to use the forecasting methods such as moving average, weighted moving average, or the exponential smoothing, simple exponential smoothing, so these methods will not work, because these methods only work better when you have a stationary time series. So a stationary time series looks like something this. So there's no trend, right? Okay, so in order to look into the trend analysis, we will only use the linear trend. Process involves development of an equation that describes the trend, and as I said earlier, we're only dealing with the linear trend. So all the data sets I will provide to you will have a linear trend when it comes to the trend analysis. So how we go about this process: when you got a time series, very first thing you're going to do, plot the historical data, and once you have plotted the data, then add the trend line or the trend component. So in this case we're going to add a linear trend line. So from here, let's go to Excel and let's look at one data set in order to see how you're going to proceed with forecasting when it comes to trend analysis. So we're back to the Excel document. In this case we're working with linear trend data example 1. So I have periodicity in the form of years, so we have yearly data collected in column A, and in column B we have actual energy cost, which is in thousands of dollars. Okay, and so in this case we want to forecast the energy cost for 2018. Okay, so I'm going to have forecast here using trend. The very first thing we're going to do, we're going to plot the time series. So I've selected the energy data or energy cost and added a line chart. And once you added a line chart, under design we're going to go to add chart element. So in this case we're going to add a linear trend line. So a linear trend line is added. So in order to just differentiate this from the actual time series, I'm going to go to format, change its color to red, and let's make it a bit thicker so we can see it clearly. So in order to display the equation, you're going to select the trend line, go to this plus sign, go to trend line, and you will have this right hand side arrow. In this case, go to more options. So in the right hand side of the Excel you will have the formatting options for the trend line, and here is the second last option which says display equation on chart. So here's my trend equation which I can use to forecast for 2018, right? So X represents the time period. So we have 14 time periods up to this point. So 2018 is the time period 15. So when it comes to forecasting, I have slope of line which is 273.18 multiplied by 15 because we're predicting for time period 15, plus the intercept which is 15108. So the forecast for 2018, which is period 15, is $19,205.70. right? So you can do the formatting, convert it to the dollar value and so on, right? Okay, so the most common mistake I have seen when it comes to doing the assignment or the exam questions or even in real life, the value of X is representing period here. So do not use 2018, use the period value. In this case 2018 is represented by period 15. If you ever get confused, always insert a column. So I'm going to say this period. So this is 1, 2. So as we fill out these values for period, from here we know that this is period 15. So we are projecting for period 15, year 2018. So always use period value. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. So again, give it a go, add a trend line, determine the equation of line, then do the forecast from that. So here's the explanation how you get the equation of line manually, right? In case you want to work through the manual process, so have a look at the slides up to slide number 20. However, I will not ask you to develop this equation manually. So for the forecasting process, if there's a manual question, I will give you the equation of line and I will ask you to forecast for a particular period. Otherwise, I will give you a data set and you can use Excel to get the trend line. So the other way to ask this question is, I will give you the data set or the trend line. Then I'm going to ask you, give me the forecast for 2018 using linear trend. So in this case, you can see the equation of line is 273.18 x plus 15108. So when I'm calculating for 2018, so this is period 15, so 273.18 multiplied by 15 plus 15108. So that will give you the forecast for year 2018. Now you can see one of the advantage of this technique is I can calculate for 2019. So if we go in sequence, this is period 15. This is going to be period 16 for 2019. So I'm going to use 273.18 multiplied by 16 plus 15108. Similarly, year 2020, 273.18 multiplied by 17 plus 15108. So I can predict several periods in future when it comes to using trend analysis. So which was one of the issues when we used simple exponential smoothing, moving average and weighted moving average. We were able to only predict one period ahead. However, using trend analysis, you can predict several periods ahead in the future. But other things still stands true what we discussed in the theoretical concepts for the forecasting. Your forecasting will be less accurate as we go into further into future. However, you have a flexibility to predict several periods ahead, right? So that's one of the advantages of trend analysis, as well as the trend analysis can deal with the non-stationary time series. So that concludes the trend analysis. If you have any questions, reach me out. Try to apply this on your own manually as well as using Excel, and compare your responses using both methods. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me out. I will catch you in the next video and we'll talk about the seasonality then.